name is Christine Macdonald, and she works the darker side of paradise as a nude exotic dancer in Waikiki.
Oh, I love it.
Embarrassing stripper moments and stripper scoop, your top 5 questions answers, have earned her cover spots as editor's picks on Open Salon. And she's also been featured and recognized as a rising author on the popular publishing site Scribd. And this week, her Blogspot blog was actually recognized as a blog of the day by Blogger, which is pretty amazing because there are a lot of fucking blogs in the world. And she founded Another Way to Say It Greetings, which is a greeting card company that caters to her friends in the GLBT community. She plans to launch these cards following the completion of her current project, which is an awesome memoir, and we're going to get to hear a little bit of that memoir tonight. So, let's hear it for Christine Macdonald all the way through.
All the way from California. Can you hear me? I want everybody to take a deep breath because I'm more nervous now than I ever was bending over naked. Okay. So I'm going to read to you. I was a stripper in Hawaii for almost 10 years. And I'm in the process of writing my memoir, which is, I think, appropriately called Pour Some Sugar on Me. Tales from an Ex-Stripper. 1987 to 1996. Big hair, high lace panties. Okay, so here we go. The first part of the chapter is on the rack cards that are on your tables. This is the second part. I can do this. I walked on stage as if strutting on a fashion runway. A wall of cigarette smoke weaved through the crowd, while pockets of perfumed dancers blended with the smell of dirty minds and money. The music carried me as the heavy bass line vibrated from the speakers to the stage. Each beat pulsing through the plexiglass, tickling the bottom of my feet, traveling up behind my calves to the backs of my knees. The 6-inch metal rods on the bottom of my heels tapped along with each cleverly balanced step. Walking in stilettos took practice, but there was something about it that turned my attitude up a notch. I could kick ass with one push, and at the same time never felt more delicate. As the second song began, I made eye contact with an impeccably dressed Japanese businessman seated front and center on the tip stage. His salt and pepper hair was thick and meticulous. Not surprising, he was smoking. He commanded the room with his presence, sitting confidently in his charcoal gray Armani suit. As I made eye contact toward him, I envisioned his introduction. Miyagi. James Miyagi. Instead, he simply nodded and called me over with his eyes. Standing tall in my baby doll dress, I slowly peeled off my panties. He likes what he sees. I slink directly in front of him, making eye contact, swaying my hips to the beat, as I lifted my dress, turned my back to face him, and slowly bent over, touching the floor. My eyes focus on his stack of bills, but he doesn't tip me. Instead, I see him speak. "Open, open," he commanded, making hand gestures like he was swimming the breaststroke. What? I nearly lost my balance. "Open, open." Jesus, what am I, a fucking dog and pussy show? Frustrated, I propped myself upright and turned around to face him, still dancing, pretending not to understand. Still moving, no tipping, blank stare. Cigarette smoke in my crotch. He gave me the old elevator look from head to toe, stopping his gaze on the second floor. I suppose he was waiting for the doors to open. I finally did open. My mouth. Nikki and Billy on the side stage caught my act and shared a giggle. He was not amused. Knowing very well no dollar bills were going to be traveling from his stack to my garter, I glided away quickly to the opposite side of the stage. I was already asked to perform gynecological tricks. If he thought I was going to give him the pleasure of turning me down, he was higher than I was. Third and final song. My tongue felt like it was starting to shrivel with desperate need for water. But I was a trooper and wasn't about to cut my set short because of a little cocaine cottonmouth. Another Japanese businessman seated on the opposite end of the stage. This one was dressed in a black members-only jacket. Khakis. Shaking Mr. Miyagi off my head, I made my way towards him. He likes you. Hi, consummate salesgirl. Silence. Keep dancing. I can tell he's into it. I start lip-syncing to a Guns N' Roses song and zeroed in on my new target. Looking at the large pile of money in front of him creates such a rush inside me, I turn the dancing up a notch. In a nightclub, this might mean dancing harder and faster. At work, it meant the opposite. Even though I was naked, I still worked my eyes into the program, bending down on my bare knees, my 6-inch stilettos toes bent behind my calves. We were now eye to eye. As Axl Rose belted out being taken down to Paradise City, I pulled him into mine. I lost count after the ones turned into 20s. My right thigh was full of bills, and my new best friend started to occupy my left garter. Jackpot. Just when I thought things couldn't get any better, I see 5 $100 bills laid out in front of me. Yes, please. He kept staring into my eyes. Yes, please. Butterflies spun inside of me. Yes, please. Perhaps this is a language problem. Domo arigato. I nodded and opened my garter like the front door at Christmas. He didn't budge. Was he torturing me? Going to buy me champagne? Having a stroke? Then I saw it. His hands making their way to the pile of money, and I braced myself for the biggest tip of my career. My hand extended to accept his kind donation to the arts. But my bubble was suddenly burst with the reality of his touch. No, 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 no. From the sound of his accent, I assumed he didn't speak much English, but he certainly knew the word no. I wasn't giving up. I wanted that money so bad I gave him the most flattering puppy dog eyes, and he proceeded to pull out what looked like a credit card. It was a hotel key. Oh, my heart was racing. Excuse me. You're all riveted, I know.
Yes.
The song was nearing to a close, and his cash still wasn't mine. I smiled, keeping my thumb pulled under my garter, hoping he was kidding. Take the key, I told myself. Could I do it? Could I actually sleep with a customer for money? Like a flag breaking free in the wind, the sounds of applause erupted. I knew my set was over. As I pulled myself up from my knees, I mouthed the words, "Thank you," grasping the money on my thighs and stepping off of stage. I made no judgment with my friends who slept with customers for cash. I was already using my body for tips. What difference did it make that I took it a step further? In the end, I couldn't take the key. It was a personal boundary, a way to protect myself from the most dangerous parts of me. The part who always touched the wall under the wet paint sign, that swallowed the pills and then asked, "What was that?" Who snorted mountains of cocaine until dawn, but when asked to try heroin, was offended at the question. What? That shit'll kill you. If I went to jail and let customers touch me, that would mean that this was all real. Later that year, I actually did take a customer home, but it was on my terms, and no money was exchanged. I felt more in control that way, which is what stripping gave me. On stage, I had power. Turns out, the sex, mediocre at best. Maybe I should have charged him after all.